Hello, I'm Craig Phillipson, President of Permaculture Cairns. This is going to be our first meeting in isolation. So stay tuned, it will actually start at 6:30. I think I'm all ready to go ahead here. So we'll just be in standby while we wait for people to join in. Please comment and say hello so that I know you're there. You can be seeing me on YouTube, Permaculture Cairns channel, or on the Permaculture Cairns Facebook page or the Permaculture Cairns Facebook group. So I do hope you join me at 6:30, where we'll be talking about cheese making and easy plants to grow in Cairns and other things. So we'll go back to the logo screen while we hang around for 10 minutes waiting for people to join. I hope to see you back here then. Hi Nikki. We'll be starting very, very shortly. I look forward to talking to everyone then. Just going to put the microphone back on mute if it's okay. You can give me a thumbs up on the comments and let me know if it all sounds good. Okay, it is now 6:30. I've been asked for a couple of audio tests. I have had the microphone on mute while I've been away, so you should be able to hear me now. Do let me know if you can hear, and do say hello. This is the second meeting that we've had live streaming to Facebook. The first one we've had live streaming to YouTube. So give me a shout out, let me know what you think, let me know if it's good or not, and just say hello so I know you're out there. This is all coming from my place because it is in social isolation, so it is all me by myself. Hi Ozza, hi Sarah, thanks for the feedback. So yes, this is just me sitting here at my desk by myself, talking to you guys. So the more participation that we have on the feedback comments, the better chat with each other, because the best thing about the permaculture meetings, the thing that we miss the most, is that the social aspect of it. Yes, you can still see me doing this, but it's the socializing with other members that is the real important part of our meetings. So use the comments section and have chats with each other, say g'day to each other, and as we go through the presentations of tonight, comment of what you're doing in your yard or kitchen, and let us know. Keep that conversation happening. Back to me again. Okay, so I'll go through my notes here because I'm a bit nervous doing this all to myself. Where are we up to? So this live stream is on YouTube and YouTube Permaculture Cairns channel that has just been made this week. So you can search for it now and find it. And we're also on the Facebook group and the Facebook page. If you want to me to comment back to you, then best to be on the Facebook group. Also, we've got Jenny Trezise there on the Facebook page. Yeah, be on the page, I should say. She has given me some videos for making cheese, which I'm going to play shortly. So she's there to take questions and answer them best she can. So look forward to that. So if you want to talk to Jenny Trezise, be on the Facebook page and you will be able to. Okay. Now, we've just got a few announcements before we do get going. First of all, many of you would have seen this book, Retro Suburbia by David Holgroom, co-founder of the Permaculture movement. This book, well, it's just been released as an ebook. You can find it online, but if you want a hard copy, as many members of Permaculture Cairns have wanted, we have ordered bulk, so we have some in stock. We are selling them for $56 each, which is no profit to us, but it's a 35% savings if you just got one delivered to you in Cairns. So if you want a copy of this, then you can email me at info@permaculturecairns.org.au, and we can organise to get one to you. So email me at that address and asking that you want a copy of Retro Suburbia for $56. It's a thick book. There's quite a lot of information in here. So it's quite a good book to have, all about doing permaculture in the backyard. So email us and let us know if you would like a book. Okay, next bit of news that I have is our internet site. Our internet site is going great. We've got a wonderful new media manager, Nikki Lee Miller. Thank you very much, Nikki. She's been doing a wonderful job updating our permaculture page. She has put in a gardening section and is slowly filling that up with plants to plant. She needs your help with that though. If you can help contribute to that by putting articles in of plants that grow in April, March, or whenever, then Nikki will be able to put them online so that we can give that information to everyone. Again, if you do want to contribute, you can email at info@permaculturecairns.org.au, and we can get more information online to people of Cairns. Recipes as well. If you have a recipe that uses local ingredients that you can use in your backyard, doesn't have to be all local ingredients. It can be some store-bought with local, so that people can learn to cook what they can grow in their backyard as well. That will be fantastic. And thanks again for Nikki for updating this page and being our media manager, doing a great job there. Now, just one other thing I want to say while we're on the internet. It's a great place to be at the moment. Everything's there. Everyone's online now. There are webinars and workshops online galore. Here's some that are being held by a company called Urban Culture. They are based down in Victoria, but they do some fantastic mushroom webinars. They do cost, but you have to book in early because they will send you up the equipment that you need for the webinar so that you can be interactive and involved with it and actually start your mushroom experience as you're watching and participating in the webinar. So they're a good one to look out for. There's many others online. If you have an event online that you would like us to know about, do email us and we'll try to get it out to our members, let everyone know what's happening around them. Okay, so that is all the announcements that I have. We're getting more and more people on board, so hi guys, thank you for joining us. Now, we have the pleasure of Jenny Trezise. I gave her the great challenge of, I said, yes, we still want you to do the April meeting, Jenny, but can you do a video version of it? And she said, I will see. And she did more than see. She came through, she delivered the goods and have done a couple of great videos for us. One on yogurt cheese and one on feta cheese. So without further ado, Here is Jenny Trezise showing us how to make yogurt cheese.
Hi, my name's Jenny Trezise and I've been asked to do a short video presentation of a cheese making workshop that I did at Coffs Harbour last December. The course was run by a company called the Cheese Making Workshop and Deli, and they offer all sorts of courses. They also sell all the equipment you need for cheese making, and you can purchase the cultures that you need as well. They also have a huge selection of cheeses from all over the world, so if you love cheese and you're down that way, I certainly recommend a visit. Now the course I did was a soft cheese making, and it covered Greek yogurt, ricotta, quark, mascarpone, Greek and Persian feta and camembert. I'm going to start with doing the yogurt because many cheeses are made using this method. So I purchased an Easy Yo yogurt maker at Big W for about $20, and really this is just to keep the cheese at a constant temperature while it's sitting on your bench top. You can use any type of milk. You can use fresh, you can use UHT, or you can use powdered milk. I choose the powdered because it can just sit in the cupboard. It's also easier because you don't have to heat up the milk, whereas you do for fresh milk. Okay, and with the cultures, you can either use an existing yogurt that has live cultures in it and just take a couple of spoonfuls out and put that in your new milk, or you can purchase cultures from the cheese making shop. These give you the different flavours of your yogurt or types of yogurt. Okay, so I'm going to have to make 1 litre of milk to make 1 litre of yogurt. So I'm going to add 1.5 cups of milk powder, and I'm going to add 2 cups of water. Instructions are on the back of the milk packet. Give that a stir to get any lumps out. And then I'm just going to pour it straight back into this yogurt maker because this holds 1 litre. Because I am making the yogurt, I'm adding the AB culture. If I was making quark, I would add an M starter. So I just add 1 pinch. And then I fill it up with water to make the 1 litre. Give it a stir. And then we just need to put it in the yogurt maker, boiling water. So this has a little cradle that sits in here, and you just fill the water up until the top of the cradle. With this one, we're going to leave on the bench for a minimum of 10 hours. You can leave it up to 24 hours, and then after that, it just goes in the fridge to set. Okay? Okay, so our yogurt has been in its container for over 10 hours, a minimum. We've then had it in the fridge for 4 or 5 hours to set. And just like all good celebrity chefs, I have one that I prepared earlier. Okay, if we just wanted yogurt, this is ready to go and eat now. Or if we want to turn it into a cheese, or this was one of the cheeses, we're going to strain it into this cloth and let it the whey drain out of it in the fridge. So put the yogurt in there, and then we just need to tie it off. A couple of sticks to hold it up. And then we're going to let it drain in this container here. This needs to drain for 24 to 48 hours, and it depends on what you're going to use the cheese for. The firmer the cheese, the longer it needs to drain. So if you want to flavour it with, say, a wet, like a cranberry and port or something, you would want it drier to start with. Okay, so this just sits in the fridge until the desired time. Thank you. Okay, so my yoghurt has been draining in the fridge for about 48 hours. I forgot to get it out and show you what it looks like, but anyway, I'll put it in a container. I've used half of it, but as you can see, it is quite a lot thicker than it was. So if you wanted to turn this into labneh cheese, you could add salt and garlic, but in this case, I'm just going to use it as a cream cheese thing. All right, so as we can't have any test tastes, I will leave the soft making cheese to you to try at home, and I will hopefully bring some in when we have our next meeting in person so we can have test tastes. Thank you very much.
How easy was that? Making yogurt cheese. We've got another one for you now of making feta cheese, so enjoy.
Okay, so now we're going to make some feta cheese. Feta actually takes a couple of days to make, but most of this time is waiting, and you just need to cut and turn the curd several times in that time frame. To make feta, we need to use unhomogenised milk, and we need 4 litres of full cream. We need to gently heat that to 32 degrees over a gentle heat so it doesn't burn. Once it reaches that temperature, we put it into a cheese making tub inside an insulated tub to keep it at the right temperature. Okay, so our milk has now reached 32 degrees. So I'm going to transfer this milk over to our tub. And then we need to add the starters. So for feta we need 1 pinch of the M starter, and stir. And then we need to add 1 drop of lipase powder, and we need to put this into 20 mils of cooled boiled water. This is to allow the chlorine to come out of any water. And we just pour this in and we stir again. Then we need to have 1 mil of this vegetarian Rene. And we also need to put that in 20 mils of cooled boiled water. Stir and pour this into the Now we need to put the lid on this and let it sit now for 60 to 90 minutes until the milk has set into the curd. Okay, so I do apologise, before I didn't have the sound turned on. So what I did is I came in and I cut the curd in anywhere from 2 to 5 centimetres horizontally, and then also through the middle as well. We let it rest for 5 minutes. Okay, so now I'm just going to get this spoon underneath, and we're just going to wiggle and jiggle. The bigger the pieces that you cut it in, the softer the curd will be when it's finished. Okay, so again, I'm going to cover it back up. I'm going to rest it for another hour and then turn it again for another time. Okay, so we've left it for the last couple of hours, and I've come along with my spoon and given it a bit of a wiggle every hour, 3 times in total, and now I've given it a rest for another 10 minutes, so we're going to strain it now. I'll just take it out of here so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so we just need a cup. So I'm just going to strain the whey, or separate it from the curds. Okay, so when we've got rid of a lot of the whey, we can start putting the curds in the basket. This will settle down to about 1/5 of the basket each. Okay, so once we've done that, we just need to cover them with a bit of cheesecloth. And then we're going to let these settle for a little while. I'm going to turn them upside down, probably about every 20 minutes, and at 5 times in total. Okay, a few days ago we had 2 baskets full of the feta curd. I then turned it 5 to 6 times over the next 3 to 4 hours, and then I took it out of the baskets and I left it to drain for 2 days at room temperature. After that, it has reduced to 2 pieces this size. Okay, so the cheese then needs to be covered in brine for 24 hours. If you want to have Greek feta, then we'll just leave it in the brine in the fridge for up to 3 weeks. That's if your cheese lasts that long. After 3 weeks, you'll need to make some new brine. If, however, you want to have Persian feta, we take it out of the brine after 24 hours, and then we're going to place it in some jars with some garlic, herbs and oil. Okay, so I've now chopped this feta into little pieces, little squares, and I'm just going to pop them into the jar. We can add some, I've got diced garlic here, some mixed herbs and some bay leaf, as well as some black pepper. Now you can add olive oil, or you can add different types of oil. I personally like the olive oil, however it does solidify in the fridge. Okay, I've been advised that if you use macadamia oil, it doesn't solidify. So these are 2 that I've done. I've added the crushed garlic, I've added mixed herbs, and I've added a bit of black pepper as well, and some bay leaves. So one I'm going to fill up with olive oil, and one I will fill up with macadamia oil. If there's any left, when we come back to our meetings, I'll bring some in for a test tape. Thank you very much.
And that's the end product. Jenny's feta cheese. Fantastic work, Jenny. Thank you very much for doing those videos for us. And if you out there want to do a video for us that we can share next month, please let me know. Again, email me at info@permaculturecairns.org.au and let me know what you can show us you're doing in your backyard or in your kitchen in Cairns. We would love to hear from you, especially if anyone out there just wants to show me how they pot and grow basil. That would be fantastic. I would love someone to do me a video on that simple thing, which I haven't got right yet. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you some of the easiest plants that grow in Cairns. This is because I have seen with all this craziness going on lately that everywhere the nurseries and Bunnings have all sold out of food plants and even seeds and potting mix. People are going crazy doing the gardening, which I'm really excited about, but I know from my own experience that most things that I buy end up dying. So what I want to show you now is things that have not died in my yard, things that can survive on sheer and utter neglect. Because lately I have been renovating the house. I haven't been doing much to the garden, but I still have things going on. So these are things in the garden that take care of themselves. So let's have a look. First we'll start off with sambung spinach. I really like sambung spinach. It's nice and fresh and it is really robust. It can grow pretty much anywhere. This lot here has survived the dry season without any worries, and now that it's rained again, it's really taken off. Here it's living in partial shade underneath the bananas and pawpaw, and still it takes off. It can survive in semi-submerged water and as well as in the dry. It's not a taste to everyone's liking. It has quite a tang to the taste of the leaf when you eat it raw. But I think people just need to get used to it. It's kind of an acquired taste, and if people are expecting more a lettuce or baby spinach kind of taste, they're going to be disappointed because it has its own flavoursome taste all to itself. But once you're used to it, it is a really nice spinach to have in a salad, bit of olive oil, salt, some feta and some tomatoes, and it's delicious. But you can also cook it as well. That helps get some of the tang out of it, and you can just eat it like any other spinach, and it's quite nice. So that's a number one easy plant to grow. The next one I want to show you is pawpaw. Now, that might not look like much because it's my pawpaw tree. So Carol has kindly given me some photos of her trees. The last one was male, the female. This one's a male. And back to mine, it's chopped off because it was growing too tall. And so what I did was I chopped it off, and you see these new growths coming out of the top of the stalk, and they will branch off into new branches and grow more pawpaws down at a level where I can reach them. It has that can over the top of it because that inner core of the pawpaw tree is very soft, And so if it does get rain in there, it does rot out and the pawpaw dies. So put the tin can over the top, and it's kind of like a rain jacket, and it will grow the new sprouts out the side, and soon we'll have a new pawpaw tree. Just keep it in an area where it can get compost to the bottom of it, rough compost, you know, your chop and drop kind of stuff, and it will keep on growing. Now this one here is Brazilian spinach. Unlike sambung, which you can eat raw, Brazilian spinach is a bit harder and not nice raw at all. So you really do have to cook this one, but it grows plentiful, nice lush green leaves, and as you can see there, I've just picked a stalk, which you can do, or you can just pluck the individual leaves and fry them up with a bit of butter, a bit of salt, and the seasonings that you want, and it's delicious. You see there, I've got it growing underneath the banana circle, and that's in shade. The guinea pig also loves a bit of the Brazilian spinach because it's a nice hardy one, which he loves to eat. Here it is growing in mostly shade, but it can take full sun as well. And again, it likes the wet, but it can survive the dry. And it actually takes over other more weedy kind of things like Singapore daisy. It shades out Singapore daisy, and so it can actually cover ground that Singapore daisy's been on and block the Singapore daisy from coming back through, which is really good. Not many plants can do that. So it's another great and easy plant to grow. Now this one here, this is my favourite spinach. This is probably the closest you get to a baby spinach. This is called Ceylon spinach, and it is a fantastic one to eat raw. Nice, sweet tasting leaves. And again, this one can grow basically in full water and or in a raised garden bed where it is there. You can even see it growing underneath the house. I thought this plant had completely died actually in the dry season, but as soon as it started raining again, it started coming back up, and here it is. And since the wet season, it's grown profusely, and I actually do have a sprinkler system on it now, so it's loving that. It does love plenty of water, and with that it will give plenty of leaves, and they're fantastic ones to just pull a couple off to put in your sandwich or in your salad as you go. You can eat them straight off the vine. You can cook them as well, but yeah, they are delicious raw. Now, another easy plant to grow is bananas. Once you've got them going, they just keep going. The trick to bananas is to have them get plenty of water. So you want to grow them in a ditch or a pit. The banana circles are great where they're all growing around the edge and you've got a big pit in the middle that collects all the rain, as well as all the chop and drop hard mulch you throw in there, and it keeps feeding the bananas and they keep growing. Creating nice lovely shade for other plants, and you see down here there's no weeds down there anymore because the bananas have shaded them out. And you see those suckers there. If you want to give some to your friend, you just chop one of those suckers, you put a shovel straight down next to it to get some of the rhizome, give it to your friend, and they'll be growing bananas as well. As simple as that. These bananas have only been here for a few years now, but they've really taken over the area. This is what it looked like back in 2017 when the bananas were only young, that it was quite an exposed spot showing the neighbour's house, but now we can't even see the neighbour for the trees. And you can eat the bananas green, you just boil them up like potatoes. Plantain is a kind of banana that is designed for that as a starchy vegetable. So you don't have to wait for them to go ripe, but these are sugar bananas, these ones, they are delicious ripe. Another great plant for the garden, and in a Zone 3 garden that you only visit maybe once a day or even less, is pumpkin. Pumpkin will grow straight from your compost heap if you're throwing some pumpkin seeds in it. They are so easy to sprout that they just pop up. This one has popped up just by throwing pumpkin seeds over the balcony and into the garden bed, and now we've got pumpkins vine growing everywhere. Now you've got the fruit there, and you do have to make sure that the fruits are fertilized. The fruits are the female flowers, and here are the male flowers. So once the male flower is open, you pluck it off and go around in the morning and poke it into the female flowers to make sure that they all do get fertilized so that your pumpkins actually grow. Having said that, if you're not getting pumpkins growing, the fantastic thing is you can eat every part of the pumpkin vine. You can eat the big leaves, though they are old and harder. Best thing is to eat the tips. Just chop off all the tips, and that will help stop growing your pumpkin growing out everywhere as well. But you can fry them up. They're nice and tender. Again, with butter and salt, they're absolutely delicious. So again, nice, easy plant to grow. Alongside that, we have sweet potato. Another easy one to grow. Just get a sweet potato that's growing eyes out of it and plonk it in the ground, and you'll have a beautiful ground cover. Again, I'm told you can eat the leaves of the sweet potato. I haven't done it myself, so I don't know what they taste like. This sweet potato is in a shady spot and has been going for a few years, but with absolutely no work whatsoever. So I haven't actually ever got a harvest of it, but now it's got a sprinkler system to it. We'll see what it does with some more water to it. But even without any work, it provides a great ground cover that shades out a lot of the ground underneath it. So it's a fantastic thing to grow. Now, one of the easiest plants to start growing would have to be the pineapple. Pineapples just grow. They are very hard to kill. You just buy a pineapple from the shop, chop the top off it, whack it in the garden, and it will grow. More water the better, sunny spot the better, but it will grow. And that's what you're seeing right now, is how quick and simple it is to plant a pineapple. Done. That's it. All to it. That will grow, and in a few years it will be producing a pineapple itself. The more love and care, the quicker that they will produce pineapples. But even with utter neglect, they will eventually produce a pineapple that you can go pick and eat, and are absolutely delicious. Now back to spinach. We've got kangkong, which is another leafy green. This one here is growing in an actual pond. It was growing in the wicking bed next to it, but it decided it liked the pond better, so it walked over and made itself at home there. The Brazilian spinach pushed it out of the wicking bed, and it took over the pond. So as you can see, it doesn't mind being in the soil, but it loves being in the water as well. Interestingly, when it first came into the pond, which wasn't meant to be a pond, it's just where I stored the rocks from the aquaponics set when I had to do renovations, but it filled with water because it's got no drainage. So the kangkong took it over, and the leaves were really pale because there wasn't any nutrients in the pond. Now the pond is an actual ecosystem that's so good. It's got frog tadpole in it, and other things are living in it that eat all the mosquito larvae, so there's no mosquito larvae in it, which is great. And the kangkong's darkening up with all those nutrients and absolutely loving it. So yeah, you can just go along. You can pick those raw and eat them. I find them a bit tasteless myself, especially compared to something like Ceylon spinach. But a lot of people have a favourite of kangkong. They prefer it over a lot of leafy greens. Again, you can cook it up, but you can have it raw in a salad as well. Now, turmeric, dead easy to grow. Throw a little bit of turmeric in the ground, and at this time of year, you'll have beautiful flowers, nice long luscious leaves. It's a beautiful plant to look at, beautiful plant to have in the garden, as well as producing much more turmeric for you. And all you have to do is go down to the roots and dig around. Just grab a little bit from the side, and you can use that straight away, or you can plant it in the ground somewhere else and it will start growing again. So it's a easy plant to grow and a beautiful plant to look at. So I really don't know how to cook with turmeric yet. I've got to get onto that, got to have some more lessons there. But because it is so easy to grow, it's an easy one to keep in the garden. Gingers are meant to be just as easy to grow, but my ginger hasn't survived, basically because I've been too nasty to it, doing renovations over the top of it and crushing it, and it's all given up for now. So I've got to get myself some more ginger, but it's meant to be another good one at this time of year, just like turmeric. Now, if you are just starting off and you have poor soil and you want to get it into condition, you cannot go past pigeon pea. Pigeon pea is a very diverse plant. It is a legume, so it's a nitrogen fixer. So it's a fantastic thing as a pioneering plant to start off any new garden bed. You can put pigeon pea in it. It grows about 4 meters tall, but you can keep chopping it down so that it doesn't grow that tall. But it does produce those nice little seeds, and you can use them just like using lentils. The pigeon pea seeds are used for making dal, but you can mill them up and make them into a flour as well. They are very versatile. So they are a very good plant in the third world where they have poor soils, and a lot of countries' staple food is pigeon pea for that reason. The actual tree itself, though, because it is helping to make the soil better by fixing nitrogen into it, and every time you chop and drop the pigeon pea, it's releasing more nutrient into the soil and regenerating it. But it also provides a lovely shade for young plants. So in your progressive planting, you can use pigeon pea to shade out the younger plants while they're young, and then when they get a bit older and a bit more robust, then you chop the pigeon pea down and let the other plants take over. And Bruce has put in the comments there that it's a great windbreak as well. So true that if you want to define an edge on your property and give your plants some shelter, then pigeon pea is a great way to go. It grows easily. You just throw out the seeds and they will start growing. As simple as that. Just if these are ones here that you see, they have just been from seeds falling on the ground, and you got another pigeon pea sprouting up. So very easy to grow, wonderful plant to have. Now, another plant that grows in very poor conditions is cassava, and here I have it in my yard, and I often forget that I have it here. I don't cook with it myself, and I thought I killed it a long time ago, but it keeps popping up, which is wonderful. Now, cassava, for eating, you eat the roots of it. It does require a bit of a preparation to it of peeling and boiling. There is a bit of a technique to it that you do need to know so that you are getting the good stuff out of the root and leaving all the yucky woody stuff behind. But having said that, many people throughout the world survive on cassava as their staple crop because it does grow easily in poor conditions and is great one for having food plants. Now these ones that you see here, I was driving by and this place, and just on their nature strip they've got it full of cassava, and you go, how wonderful is that? They've got other plants in there as well, a bit of they've got pineapples and other plants growing as well. It's a great thing to see on the nature strip, better than seeing grass. And the last one I almost forgot to mention just because I see it so often and forget about how great it is. This is the bird's eye chili, and it is a very flavoursome, very spicy chili. I once saw a Bush Tucker man on one of his shows, and you can see it on YouTube. He does Far North Queensland, and he talks about the bird's eye chili, and then he pops one in his mouth, and in an instant he's spitting it out because they are so hot that you do not put them straight in your mouth. But chop them up finely and add it, just a couple to any meal will bring that zing to it. And the wonderful thing about bird's eye chilies is they are planted by the birds. You don't have to do any farming to them whatsoever. They just pop up where the birds want them to pop up. So you can't say you want a bird's eye chili here. Well, you can if you're a good gardener, sure. But this one here, as with all the bird's eye chilies that I've ever grown, I haven't grown them. The birds have planted them and they've just grown. I just come along and pick all the chilies off when they're nice and red. And what I do is I put them in a little jar and then fill that jar with vinegar and put it in the fridge. And then if I want to do something like make a hot and sour soup, put my coconut cream, boil that up and tip some of this chili vinegar in there, and the vinegar's got all the taste and zing of the bird's eye chilies, and that adds a delicious flavour to a hot and sour soup. Very easy and with no effort whatsoever. So there you go. That is, I think it's 13 plants that I have growing in my garden. But when I started thinking about this idea of showing you what's easy to grow, I didn't even know that I had 13 easy to grow plants in my garden. But once I look around, I go, wow, I've actually got quite a lot growing in my garden. So how fantastic is that? None of those plants require any effort whatsoever. So if you are just starting out gardening, ask your friends, ask your neighbours, get clippings, cuttings, seeds of those plants, and you'll have food growing plants happening very easily. Now, I just want to say, yes, it's nice to grow these things, but you have to know how to cook them as well. So I've got a couple of books here for you to show you. These books were written by Cairns people. This is by Claire Richards, Tropical Cuisine. So this is using store-bought as well as tropical ingredients to make some wonderful dishes. So all those plants you will find in here and what to do with them. So that's quite a thick book and quite a lot of recipes in there, fantastic recipes, even how to make Dijon mustard and things like that. So a very good book to have. And this is another wonderful book by our good friend Tennille Christensen from Organic Motions. It's nice and thin, but packed full of great information. It's got what plants grow in Cairns and the surrounding area, as well as how to cook them as well as where to grow those plants and the whole point of layer gardening, of having a top story, middle story, and floor coverings and underground plants as well. So that's a fantastic book by Tennille to have. And even here's another book that I recommend. This is just a general cooking book. This teaches you how to cook. This is called Salt, Fat, Acid and Heat by Salman Norsrat. She taught Michael Pollan how to cook, and he does the foreword for this book. So her theory is that all you need to understand about cooking is how to add salt, fat, acid and heat to any meal to have it nicely balanced. And it's full of great information. She shows what herbs to throw together to make different cuisines from throughout the world, how to make different pastries. She goes into every detail about the science of cooking using those 4 elements. So even if you don't have a recipe and you want to cook tropical food, by using the information that you can get from this book, you can cook anything, because she shows you just how to balance a meal nicely. So that's another book that I love, and it's got great pictures in it as well. So there you go. That is our first Permaculture Cairns meeting from isolation. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm glad you've all come. I've been seeing all the comments coming through. Thank you very much for everyone who's been commenting. I've loved seeing all the extra information that people have offered, making cassava chips, dehydrating the turmeric, and where to plant what plants. We do have some wonderful people here. We've all got some good information, so thank you everyone out there doing the comments and sharing that. So we will try to do this again in a month's time. We'll see how we're going by then. We're probably still going to be in isolation, so do tune back in 3rd Tuesday of the month, so next one being May. If you would like to contribute, if you would like to make a video that we can show people how to do something, take a photo of all the plants that I showed you today. If you can take a photo of how they're growing in your yard, what you're doing with them, I would love that information and to share that with people as well. So please email me and send me your knowledge of what to do and what to grow in Cairns, and we'll get some yards with a lot of wonderful food growing plants in them, and lots to share with our neighbours and friends. So thanks again very much for tuning in, and have a good night.